Everyone, we're down here in the Botanic Gardens in Sydney. Gosh, we're lucky to be down here. We had the most beautiful morning at Networking in Nature with our wonderful guest presenter, Pamela Pauline. Pam, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me, John. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
You've been a regular of this crew. We'd wanted to get you presenting for more than a year now. We finally lined it up, and boy, was it worth the wait. Pam, it's just amazing to see somebody pursue their creative passion and their craft to turn it into their core business, as you have, spreading creativity, but also still being so detail focused and enjoying the process. And we really dived into the whole process, the story behind it. It just kicked such an amazing level of inspiration this morning. I was absolutely blown away. You shared some of your work, inspired everyone with the process. Maybe just to recap, because we don't have time to go into the full backstory, maybe do you want to just share firstly around what got you interested in threatened species and Australian flora and fauna?
Wow. Yeah, so what got me interested was, I'm a photographer and I've lived here for many years, almost 30 years, and I've always loved the uniqueness of Australian flora and fauna. It's very different from my upbringing. But what really got me into it was a shift in my own life where I saw everything natural come together when my father died. And it wasn't about that, but it was a real shift and an interest to take advantage of every single day and really grow. And I know this has been said in various sources where you're planted. And this is where I am, and I wanted to take full advantage of saving what we can here because it's so incredibly special. So threatened species are part of my work and a big part of it, but there's so much out there that's not threatened that's beautiful, and we see it every day. Look at this. We're very fortunate.
And that's a nice segue in terms of just the everyday, because you shared one of your artworks that you look at it and it is this amazing, I think you called it a composite photographic artwork, where it's all these layers of hundreds of different images that you've put together and arranged in a beautiful way. But that day by day process and practice to arrive at that incredible output, that was really interesting. And you shared some insight around that, and you even came up with this amazing question. Would you be able to recap that and the question? Because it's such a good question to reflect about, because we can be so outcome focused and miss the enjoyment and the importance of the process to get there.
Yeah. No, the outcome does matter, but I think what I've learned in this process of working with all these different photographs and creating, like you said, this composite artwork, is that for me, every element is like this treasure hunt. I'm always looking for that little bit to add to this piece. So it can go on for months, and it makes me realize that it is about, my work is actually about the process itself. Because I can look at my final piece and I will remember every single place I was when I took that particular photo, and the relationship I had with that bird, or was it windy when I was trying to capture that plant. And it's all part of the soul of the end product. So the actual process is what it's all about, and I love it. They say that if you're an artist, if you follow your passion, you'll never work a day in your life. There's some truth to that, but I have to say I love what I do, and it is a day-to-day sort of process.
So what was the question for people to think about?
The question that I asked was, in your own day-to-day work, whatever it might be, how can you make the process the most important thing, not the outcome? Although outcome is important, we all have to live and support ourselves and our families. So I'm not minimizing that.
Yeah.
That does matter, but the process is what gives you the joy.
That's such a good reflection. I think there's just so much value in that. That was the one that hit me, and I know when I partnered up and was chatting through and reflecting on that led to a few light bulb thoughts. And you can't just teleport to the outcome as much as you'd like to, and so it is so important, that process. Yeah. And also something we reflected on was just the individuality and the expression that can come from that process, because everyone's process is different. And I think that's really what it's about, finding your footing, finding what works for you in any sort of endeavor.
And in that itself is a real process, is trying to work out what is your purpose. What are you working towards?
Yeah.
It's not obvious, initially.
Yeah.
But eventually, like in my case, it sort of it was organic, the process.
Yeah.
Just sort of over time, it just all started to make sense and fall into place. But every experience I had in earlier years helped create what I do now. It's all part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, I want to finish with just a little plug for Pamela Pauline. If you haven't seen her artworks, there'll be a link to her website. Unbelievably beautiful artworks that she's put together that showcase the real beauty of our Australian wildlife as well as our flora, which is unique, which is diverse, which is just almost unconscionably broad and diverse. Like it's incredible. And Pam has an exhibition coming up here starting on the 15th of October, so it's very timely. It's in the Botanic Gardens. We'll also put some information there, but I would just highly encourage to come get immersed in Pam's world, in the world of our beautiful wildlife and flora of Australia. Bring your checkbook. I said this again to the group because you've got to support the artists and the creatives in your life and in your community, and people like Pam, because that's what makes us human. And we had a conversation at the end around AI and how that ties in. And coming back to the process, the creativity, the expression, this is what makes us human, and we've got to support people who've taken the risk and made it their everyday focus. Pam, you're inspiring. I love your work. I cannot wait to buy a piece later this month and visit your exhibition. Thank you so much
John.
again.
Really, thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed speaking to all these incredible people.
Awesome. See you next time.